What if the modern medical advice to just kind of avoid direct sunlight is actually, well, starving your cells?
Oh, that's a big question.
Right, like starving them of an environmental nutrient that is literally just as vital as the food we eat.
Yeah, we definitely don't think of it like that.
Not at all. I mean, think about how we treat sun exposure today. We basically hide from it.
We do. Slap on the SPF 50, put on the UV blocking sunglasses.
Exactly. We treat the sun like it's this giant radioactive hazard in the sky.
There's something to be mitigated.
Yeah. But today, for this deep dive, we are looking at an ancient yogic protocol that flips that entirely upside down.
It's completely inverted.
It really is.
Yeah.
This protocol claims that the exact moment of sunrise, like that specific sliver of time, contains this really potent frequency of energy.
And modern science is actually only just beginning to figure out how to measure it.
Right. So we aren't talking about going to the beach and getting a tan here.
No, not at all.
We are talking about optimizing the really deep biological engines inside your cells.
Which is wild because it forces us to completely reevaluate our relationship with our environment.
How so?
Well, I mean, we tend to view the outdoors as just, a backdrop to our lives.
Right, the place you walk through to get to your car.
Exactly. Rather than an active, required input for human physiology.
And our source material today really pushes that concept to its absolute limit.
It definitely does.
We are unpacking a highly detailed video presentation by an advanced level yoga and meditation teacher. His name is Osman.
Yes, Osman.
Now, Osman comes to this topic with a background that is, well, it's incredibly unique.
And frankly, quite intense.
Super intense. You want to give a little context on him?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
To fully grasp the perspective he's bringing today, you really need to understand his stated credentials.
Right.
First off, it's important to note that Osman is actually completely blind. He lost his sight permanently in May 2023.
Which is a huge detail.
It is, because he had normal eyesight before that. So he retains these incredibly vivid visual memories.
Right. He knows what the world looks like.
Exactly. So when he describes environments or the visual realities of these practices, he has this unique precision of someone who has known sight and is translating that into his current teachings.
Wow, okay.
And beyond that, he is a master-level energy healer.
Okay, so we're getting into the energy side of things.
Yeah. He cites having telepathic capabilities, and his clinical specialty is operating at the extreme edges of human health.
Like critical care stuff.
Specifically working with terminal illnesses and critical care recovery.
Wow.
Yeah. He is entirely focused on the mechanics of life force and how the human body can recover from catastrophic energetic depletion.
Okay, so because his background is that specialized, and because we are going to be talking about protocols that literally impact your physiology, we actually need to set a very clear boundary right now.
We do. This is a mandatory disclaimer, directly per Osman's strict instructions in his materials.
Go ahead.
So the therapies, the concepts, and the protocols we are analyzing today are entirely all natural.
Right.
They absolutely do not replace professional medical treatment.
I cannot stress that enough.
Exactly. We're acting strictly as impartial reporters here, just unpacking the claims and the structural logic of his presentation.
We aren't taking sides or endorsing it as a cure.
No.
Yeah.
If you have any medical condition, any severe pathology or acute illness, you must consult a licensed, qualified medical professional in your area.
Period.
This deep dive is an exploration of complementary practices, not a substitute for traditional medicine.
Okay. With that critical framework in place, let's talk about why you, the listener, should actually care about this.
Because it's a big commitment.
Right. We are all busy, we are all overloaded, so why dedicate a whole deep dive to, standing in the morning sun?
Well, Osman makes a claim that caught my attention immediately.
What was that?
He states that if you execute this specific morning protocol correctly, it won't just make you feel a little more awake.
Like a cup of coffee.
Right, not just a caffeine bump. He claims it will fundamentally change your work performance and your relationship dynamics in a matter of just 2 to 3 weeks.
That is a massive claim.
It is a massive claim. But what makes it worth our time is the mechanical explanation behind it.
Right. He's not just saying stand outside and be happy.
No, Osman isn't suggesting this happens through magic. He is outlining a highly structured system of biological and energetic inputs.
Inputs designed to yield a specific behavioral output.
Precisely.
Okay, let's unpack this. And to do that properly, I think we really have to start by establishing the current baseline.
Where we are at right now.
Yeah. let's look at what the modern scientific and medical consensus is actually telling us right now about getting outside.
Right. The modern standard has actually coalesced quite nicely over the last decade or so.
Yeah, you hear it everywhere.
The broad recommendation from health authorities, dermatologists, sleep scientists, they all say to get roughly 15 to 20 minutes of daylight or sunlight daily.
But, and this is a big but, the parameters around that recommendation are incredibly lenient.
Oh, totally.
Modern science says you can do this fully clothed.
Right, just take a walk in your business attire.
Or your winter coat. Just get your face out there.
Exactly.
The primary focus of the modern prescription is basically entirely defensive.
Yes.
Like, they give very specific time frames, usually early morning between 9:00 a.m. and 10:00 a.m.
Or late afternoon as the day cools down around 4:00 p.m. to 5:00 p.m.
Depending on when the sun sets, the whole point is to just avoid the sun when it is directly overhead and hot.
What's fascinating here is the underlying logic of that modern scientific approach.
Which is what?
It is essentially risk management.
Oh, that makes sense.
Modern medicine acknowledges that human biology requires the physiological triggers of daylight, to set circadian rhythms and synthesize vitamin D.
Right. We need the light to tell our brains it's morning.
But it is simultaneously terrified of thermal damage, cellular mutation, and the UV radiation risks associated with peak solar intensity.
So it's a balancing act.
Exactly. So that 9:00 a.m. to 10:00 a.m. window, it's a biological compromise. You get the ambient luminance to tell your brain it is daytime. But the angle of the sun is low enough that the atmospheric scattering filters out the most intense, potentially damaging wavelengths.
It's like the safe, sanitized version of nature exposure.
Very sanitized.
And I mean, it's practical for someone stepping out of a climate-controlled office building.
Right. You don't want to get sweaty.
But here's where the source material pivots aggressively.
It really does.
Osman introduces the traditional yogic perspective, which doesn't just tweak the modern 9:00 a.m. recommendation.
No, it completely rejects the premise of casual, broad window exposure.
Totally rejects it. The yoga science prescription demands extreme precision. You must be outside at the very junction of sunrise.
A precise moment the environment shifts from night to day.
And this detail blew my mind. Osman insists you must do this even on a cloudy day.
Even when you can't see the sun.
Yeah. And I have to push back on this logic a bit. Why the exact junction?
Well.
I mean, I look at it like surfing, right?
Okay, I like that.
You want to catch the wave right as it is forming, as the energy is cresting. You don't wait for it to turn into like a whitewash rolling onto the sand at 10 a.m.
That's a great analogy.
But biologically, physiologically, what is the actual significance of that exact fleeting minute of sunrise? Especially if clouds are blocking the physical light anyway.
If we break down the geophysics of a sunrise, we start to really see why that junction is so critical.
Okay, break it down.
A sunrise is not a gradual dimming switch being turned up.
It feels like it is, though.
Visually, maybe. But the exact moment, the Terminator line?
The Terminator line.
Yeah, that's the line dividing the day side and the night side of the Earth.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The moment that line washes over your geographical location, there is a massive kinetic shift in the atmosphere.
Really?
Yes. The barometric pressure changes. The ambient temperature shifts. The ionosphere literally reacts to the incoming solar wind.
So it's essentially an invisible shockwave of environmental data.
Precisely. It's a shockwave. And by positioning yourself in that environment, at that exact junction, even under dense cloud cover, your biology is being subjected to the most dynamic transitional energy the planet experiences in a 24-hour cycle.
Wow. So your body feels it, even if your eyes don't see the bright sun.
Exactly. Your autonomic nervous system, your cortisol awakening response, your thermal receptors, they are all reacting to the momentum of the dawn.
That is wild.
By 10:00 a.m., to use your surfing analogy, the wave has flattened out.
The whitewash.
Right. The atmosphere is stabilized. You are just standing in static light. The yogic prescription is engineered to capture the momentum of the transition itself.
That reframes the entire concept for me.
How so?
Well, you aren't just trying to get a certain quota of photons into your eyes anymore.
No.
You are aligning your body with the primary thermodynamic engine of the planet.
That's exactly what it is.
And because this is such a specific, highly charged environment, it makes sense that you wouldn't just, stand there idly.
Right. You can't just be a passive observer.
Which brings us to the actual mechanics of the yogic protocol. You aren't just drinking a coffee and looking at the horizon.
No. The environmental exposure is merely the prerequisite.
The setup.
Yes.
Yeah.
The actual practice is highly active.
Right. So Osman introduces a specific series of postures known in the ancient tradition as Surya Namaskar.
Yes.
Now, I know when we start throwing around ancient terminology, especially here in the West, people's mental defenses immediately go up.
Oh, without a doubt.
It sounds mystical, or worse, it sounds religious to a lot of people.
And that is a linguistic hurdle Osman is very careful to clear right away.
Good.
He deliberately strips away the heavy cultural and religious connotations that the modern world has attached to the word namaskar.
Because people hear it and envision deity worship, right?
Exactly, or religious veneration. But Osman points out that the ancient root circ and the proper clinical translation of this practice simply means greeting the sun.
Just a greeting.
Or more functionally, exposing yourself to the sun.
I love that. It is a functional directive, not a religious submission.
Exactly.
You are literally just greeting a massive fusion reactor in the sky.
That's all it is.
And the physical requirements for this greeting are the total opposite of the modern, fully clothed 10:00 a.m. walk.
Complete opposite.
Osman states that you must wear minimal clothing.
Minimal.
The objective is to expose the maximum possible surface area of your skin to the ambient environment.
Right.
And while doing this, the practitioner moves through a specific sequence of forward and backward flexing of the body.
The contrast is quite stark when you compare it.
Yeah, to the winter coat approach.
Right. The modern approach treats the body as a fragile entity that needs to be shielded from the environment, allowing only minimal light through the eyes.
Just a little peek.
But the yogic approach treats the body as an active receiver. It demands that you strip away the protective barriers and maximize your surface area.
It is basically a hardware configuration.
Yeah.
Think about a massive solar farm. If you want to capture the maximum amount of energy to power a city grid, you do not throw tarps over the panel.
You definitely don't.
And you definitely don't leave them flat on the ground in the shade.
No, they wouldn't collect anything.
You strip off the coverings, you angle the panels precisely toward the incoming radiation, and you actually articulate those panels throughout the day to track the trajectory of the light.
They move with the sun.
Right. And that is exactly what Osman is describing. You are the solar panel, and your clothing is the tarp.
That analogy perfectly illustrates the biomechanics of Surya Namaskar.
Right.
You are articulating the human frame to optimize the angle of incidence.
The angle of incidence, I like that.
Yeah. The forward and backward flexions are changing the geometry of your body relative to the horizon.
Okay.
This ensures that different topographical areas of your skin and musculature are sequentially exposed and activated.
That makes total sense. Now, Osman does offer a very practical caveat here, which we should mention.
Oh, definitely.
He acknowledges that we live in an era where you can easily just pull up a YouTube tutorial on Surya Namaskar or read about the postures in a book.
But he strongly advises against that.
I'm guessing he doesn't recommend the DIY approach for something this specific?
Not as your primary learning method, no. His recommendation is that you must learn this sequence under a qualified teacher.
Why is that so crucial?
The reasoning is structural precision. A video cannot correct your spinal alignment.
True.
A book cannot tell you if your forward flexion is compressing your lumbar discs instead of opening your thoracic cavity.
Right, you could be doing more harm than good.
Exactly. A qualified teacher tailors the specific geometry of the postures to your unique biomechanics, ensuring that your solar panel, to use your analogy, is angled safely and efficiently.
Which makes perfect sense. I mean, if you are going to commit to waking up at the exact junction of dawn, taking off your warm clothes in the chilly morning air,
That's a big commitment.
you better make sure your biological hardware is actually calibrated to receive the signal.
Otherwise, you are just doing calisthenics in the cold.
Exactly, just shivering for no reason.
Right.
So, okay, we've established the hardware setup.
We have.
We have the maximal skin exposure, the precise geometry of the forward and backward flexions, all aligned with the planetary shift of the sunrise.
The Terminator line.
The Terminator line. But here is where we need to dive deeper into Osman's teachings.
Let's do it.
What is the software running on this hardware? What is actually happening inside the body during this 20-minute window? Because we can't just talk about stretching muscles.
No, we can't.
Osman moves the conversation from the physical skin to what he calls the subtle energy.
And this is the critical threshold where the yogic science really diverges from modern exercise physiology.
How so?
Modern science views movement primarily as a mechanism for burning calories or building muscular hypertrophy.
Right, getting bigger biceps.
Exactly. But Osman is describing movement as a mechanism for energy conduction.
Conduction, okay.
Yes.
He explains that it is the synthesis of these three elements: the sunlight exposure, the minimal clothing, and the physical flexing that acts as a catalyst.
They all have to work together.
Right. This specific combination activates the body's subtle energy centers.
We really need to define subtle energy here because I know it can sound incredibly vague to a modern ear.
Please do, because honestly, my initial reaction is always a bit of skepticism when we move away from observable biology.
Sure.
Like, are we talking about the nervous system? Are we talking about the electromagnetic field of the heart? What is subtle energy in a mechanical sense?
It is highly likely that what ancient yogis termed subtle energy, or prana,
Okay, prana.
is actually the experiential observation of complex physiological phenomena that our modern instruments are only now beginning to map.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. We are talking about the bioelectrical currents running through the fascial network.
The fascia.
Yes. When you perform the deep forward and backward flexions of Surya Namaskar, you're generating piezoelectricity in the connective tissues.
Wait, piezoelectricity. Like a quartz watch.
Exactly like that.
Ugh.
Physical pressure generating an electrical charge.
Wow.
And you are physically pumping the lymphatic system, which doesn't have a central pump like the heart does.
Right, it relies on movement.
You are creating pressure gradients in the cerebrospinal fluid.
Okay, so it's a very physical reality.
Yes. This massive cascade of internal fluid dynamics and electrical signaling is what is actually being activated.
So the subtle energy centers aren't like imaginary glowing orbs.
No.
They are the highly dense intersections of nerve plexuses and endocrine glands.
Exactly. And Osman states that when these centers are activated through this precise environmental and physical synthesis, the body becomes capable of absorbing life force energy from the air and the environment.
And the mechanism that bridges the external environment to those internal energy centers is the breath.
It's all about the breath.
Osman is emphatic about this. You don't just breathe normally.
No casual breathing.
There is a highly specialized intentional breathing technique that is mapped directly to the forward and backward postures. The breath is the synchronization tool.
If we connect this to the bigger picture of biological rhythms, the genius of this ancient technology becomes just undeniable.
Walk me through it.
Let's look at the compounding effect. You are doing physical flexions that alter internal pressure.
Check.
You have removed your clothing, removing the insulative barrier to the environment's thermal and barometric shifts.
Heck.
And now you are consciously overriding your autonomic nervous system through directed breathing.
You are literally taking manual control of the machine.
You are. The specialized breathing regulates the vagus nerve.
Which does what?
It drops the body out of a sympathetic stress state, fight or flight, and into a highly receptive parasympathetic state.
Rest and digest.
Yes, you're creating an internal rhythm that mathematically synchronizes with the external rhythms of the sunrise.
I want to pause on that word. Synchronization.
It's a huge concept.
Because when I look at the modern lifestyle, it is defined almost entirely by desynchronization.
Oh, completely disconnected.
Think about how the average person starts their day.
It's pretty brutal.
You are jolted out of deep sleep in a dark room by a digital alarm clock.
A literal alarm.
Right. You immediately flip on overhead LED lights, which blast this unnatural spectrum into your retinas.
Telling your brain it's noon.
Exactly. Then you stare at the blue light of a smartphone screen, reading stressful emails before your feet even touch the floor.
It's a trauma response every morning.
It is. You are effectively downloading software into your brain that says, it is midday and we are under attack, while the actual environment outside is quiet and dark.
It is physiological dissonance.
Dissonance, yes.
Your circadian clocks, the master clock in your brain and the peripheral clocks in your liver, gut, and muscles, are receiving wildly conflicting data streams.
So imagine the profound contrast of Osman's protocol.
It's night and day.
Literally.
You step outside into the actual atmospheric reality of the planet.
Yeah. You feel the temperature drop, you see the ambient light shift, and you intentionally synchronize the deepest mechanics of your breath with the planetary rotation that causes the sunrise.
It's beautiful, really.
It is the ultimate mechanical antidote to modern desynchronization.
It is.
You are essentially winding the mainspring of a mechanical watch, setting the master gear that will drive all the smaller biological gears.
Your digestion, your focus, your sleep cycle.
For the rest of the day.
That is a brilliant analogy. You are setting the master temporal rhythm for your entire physiology.
So we have explored the geophysics of the dawn and the bioelectrical realities of the subtle energy.
Yes.
But Osman doesn't just leave it at ancient philosophy. He pivots to modern biology to validate why the physical light of the sun matters so much.
We have to talk about what the light is actually doing once it hits the skin.
Right.
This is where the ancient empirical observation intersects with modern clinical validation. We're looking at the infrared reality.
Osman highlights a relatively recent realization in modern science regarding the infrared spectrum.
Yeah, this is fascinating stuff.
He notes that infrared rays from the sun are so penetrative that even if you are wearing clothing, they pass right through the fabric.
I do.
But more importantly, they don't just warm the surface of your skin. These rays penetrate deep into the human body.
Up to 8 millimeters beneath the surface of the skin.
That seems really deep for light.
To put that 8 millimeter penetration into perspective, that is deep enough to bypass the epidermis and dermis entirely.
Wow.
It reaches the subcutaneous fat layers and the dense capillary beds that supply blood to your muscles and organs.
So it's not just a surface level thing?
Not at all. It is massive systemic access.
But wait, I have to challenge this logic for a second.
Go for it.
If Osman says modern science proves infrared penetrates clothing,
Yeah.
why does the yogic protocol demand minimal clothing? Why strip down if the rays go through the shirt anyway?
That is a very crucial distinction to make.
Right, because it sounds contradictory.
While some infrared wavelengths can penetrate thin clothing, fabric absolutely attenuates the signal.
Attenuates it. It muffles it.
Exactly. It scatters the photons and drastically reduces the total dosage your tissue receives.
Okay, that makes sense.
Furthermore, clothing entirely blocks the visible light spectrum and the ultraviolet spectrum.
And we need those too.
Yes, both of which have distinct biological signaling functions on the surface of the skin. Minimal clothing ensures zero attenuation.
You are getting the full, unadulterated bandwidth of the solar transmission.
You don't want a muffled signal when you're trying to set your master clock.
Okay, point taken. So what happens when this unattenuated infrared signal reaches 8 millimeters deep?
Osman points directly to the mitochondria.
The powerhouse of the cell.
Exactly. The infrared light positively impacts mitochondrial activity, resulting in a massive boost in vitality, cellular health, and overall wellness.
We can be very specific about the mechanism here, right?
Yes, modern science calls this photobiomodulation.
Photobiomodulation. That's a mouthful.
It is. Inside your mitochondria, the engines that produce ATP, the chemical currency of cellular energy, there is a specific enzyme called cytochrome C oxidase.
Okay.
This enzyme is essentially a photoreceptor.
Wait, a photoreceptor inside our cells?
Yes, deep inside the body. When near-infrared and red light photons hit cytochrome C oxidase, it kicks the electron transport chain into overdrive.
Like hitting the gas pedal.
Literally speeds up the engine of the cell, increasing ATP production, reducing oxidative stress, and increasing localized blood flow.
So the light isn't just making you warm.
No.
It is literally being converted into chemical energy that your body uses to think, move, and heal.
Yes. And modern science is incredibly proud of this discovery. We are building red light therapy panels and laser devices to replicate this exact mitochondrial stimulation in clinical settings.
People pay thousands of dollars for those panels.
They do.
But here's where it gets really interesting, though.
Okay.
Because just as modern science is sort of patting itself on the back for mapping the cytochrome C oxidase mechanism,
Right.
Osman drops a highly provocative claim.
He does.
He says that while modern science is hyper-focused on infrared, yoga science asserts that sunlight contains a vastly wider spectrum of energy.
The unknown spectrum.
Exactly. Osman states that science is only just now stumbling upon the infrared benefits.
Yeah, like it's a new toy.
But the ancient yoga sciences have known about and utilized these other entirely unmapped, unmeasured parts of the light spectrum for thousands of years.
This creates a fascinating epistemological tension.
Epistemological tension. Unpack
It
that.
forces us to ask, how do we know what we know?
Right, because my immediate Western trained thought is, if we can't measure it with a spectrometer, it doesn't exist.
Exactly. That's our bias.
So how could yogis thousands of years ago know about a spectrum of energy without laboratory equipment?
Because they utilize a different type of instrumentation.
What do you mean?
We rely on external mechanical sensors,
Yeah.
silicon chips and lenses.
Yeah.
The ancient yogis relied on the ultimate internal sensor, the human nervous system.
Oh,
Through decades of relentless, isolated, internal observation, what we call deep meditation, they refined their interoception to an astonishing degree.
interoception, the ability to feel what's happening inside the body.
Exactly. They could feel the physiological changes occurring in their bodies under different environmental conditions.
So they didn't need a machine to tell them the sunrise was doing something.
No. They detected a broader spectrum of energetic input intuitively and experientially.
And they engineered the precise geometric postures and breathing rhythms of Surya Namaskar to capture it.
Exactly. They built the protocol based on the internal data.
It really requires a serious dose of humility from the modern scientific community.
It really does.
I mean, we act like we have the universe figured out, but if you look at the electromagnetic spectrum, the visible light we see is just a tiny microscopic sliver of reality.
A tiny fraction.
Infrared is another sliver. Who is to say the sun isn't broadcasting entirely different forms of energy?
Like scalar waves, specific neutrino interactions, or subtle magnetic fluctuations.
Right. Stuff that our skin absorbs, but our machines simply aren't built to detect yet.
This raises an important question.
What's that?
If it took us until the late 20th century to truly understand the photobiomodulation of infrared light.
A phenomenon that has been hitting our skin since the dawn of humanity, by the way.
Exactly. How much of nature's underlying technology are we still completely blind to today?
That is a staggering thought.
Osman's premise is that you do not need to wait for a peer-reviewed paper to utilize the technology.
You don't need to understand the combustion engine to drive the car.
Perfect analogy. The yogic protocol is the user manual for an energy source we don't fully comprehend yet.
And that brings us to the ultimate question for anyone listening today.
The ROI.
The ROI. We've covered the astrophysics of the dawn, the biomechanics of the postures, the mitochondrial stimulation.
Normally heavy theory.
Right. But what is the actual return on investment? If you commit to this, if you strip down in the morning, do the flexions, and sync your breath with the sunrise, what happens to your life?
Osman is remarkably concrete about the ROI.
I was surprised by that.
Yeah, he doesn't offer vague promises of, spiritual enlightenment.
You'll feel at one with the universe.
Right. Instead, he offers a highly specific, measurable biological timeline.
Let's hear it.
He states that within just 1 week of adopting this specific junction of sunrise protocol, you will find a noticeable, distinct difference in your energy levels.
I want to pause on that timeline. 7 days.
It's fast.
From a clinical perspective, inducing a subjective, noticeable shift in baseline energy in a single week is incredibly aggressive.
Very aggressive.
I have to ask, is that just a placebo effect? Like you start doing something new, you feel proactive, so you just feel better?
It's a fair question.
Or is there an actual biological reason the turnaround is that fast?
It is highly likely a mechanical reality, not just placebo.
Okay, walk me through the mechanics of a 7-day shift.
If you consider the mitochondrial turnover rate and the immediate reset of the autonomic nervous system we discussed earlier, you are fundamentally altering the body's stress response.
From day one.
From day one.
Right.
By using the breath to force parasympathetic dominance at the start of every single day, you are drastically lowering the systemic cortisol load.
You're turning off the alarm bells.
Exactly. When you stop bleeding energy to chronic low-grade stress throughout the day, you experience that saved energy as a massive surplus.
Oh, that makes sense. It's not that you're suddenly superhuman, it's that you stopped draining the battery.
You are plugging the leaks in the battery.
That's a great way to put it. And that shift can absolutely be felt in 7 days.
Without a doubt.
And the timeline continues. Osman states that after 2 to 3 weeks of consistent practice, the benefits overflow from just feeling good internally to actively altering your external reality.
Which is where it gets really compelling.
He specifically notes that you will see positive results in your work performance and profound improvements in your relationships and day-to-day interactions.
This is where the biological optimization creates emergent behavioral changes.
Emergent behavioral changes?
Yeah. It maps perfectly to what we know about neurobiology.
So what does this all mean in a practical sense? How does standing in the sun make me a better partner or a better employee?
Think about the state in which most people operate at work or in their relationships right now.
Stress.
They are underslept, mitochondrially depleted, and locked in a sympathetic fight-or-flight nervous system state.
Always on edge.
In that state, your prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain responsible for patience, empathy, complex problem solving, emotional regulation.
Basically all the things that make you a good person to be around.
Right. That part of the brain is severely compromised when you're
You
stressed.
just don't have access to it.
You are reactive. You snap at your partner over nothing. You make short-sighted decisions at work.
You are surviving, not thriving.
Exactly. Now, inject Osman's protocol into that reality.
Okay.
You have enhanced your cellular energy via infrared absorption. You have manually tuned your nervous system to a state of calm alertness via the breath.
Check.
You have synchronized your circadian rhythm with the terminator line of the sunrise.
Right.
You are now operating from a baseline of physiological abundance rather than depletion.
That's the surplus energy we talked about.
Yes. So you don't react to that passive-aggressive email at work. You process it calmly.
You don't take the bait.
Exactly. You don't snap at your spouse. You have the energetic bandwidth to be present and empathetic.
That is so powerful.
The physiological state dictates the behavioral outcome.
So the relationship ROI is just downstream of the biological ROI?
100%.
But as always, whenever we talk about optimization, the counter-argument is time.
Always time.
People listening are thinking, I have a commute, I have kids to get to school, I cannot do a 45-minute yoga retreat on my front lawn every morning.
It's a valid concern.
But Osman actually addresses the time commitment directly, doesn't he?
He does, and the parameters he provides are highly adaptable.
Osman notes that a full, comprehensive Surya Namaskar sequence takes roughly 20 minutes to complete.
Which, interestingly enough, aligns perfectly with the modern scientific recommendation of 15 to 20 minutes of daily exposure.
Oh, that's a great point. I didn't even put that together.
Yeah, it is not asking you to add more time to your wellness routine.
It is asking you to drastically increase the density and quality of the time you are already supposed to be spending outside.
Exactly. Swap the 10 a.m. dog walk in a winter coat for the 20-minute sunrise sequence.
But Osman is a realist. He knows 20 minutes at dawn is a luxury for some people.
Oh, totally.
He states that if you are heavily restricted with your time, you do not abandon the protocol.
Right. Consistency is key.
He explicitly says it can be done in a compressed space, even in less than 5 minutes.
That compression is the most vital piece of practical advice in the source material.
But I want to challenge the efficacy of that. Can 5 minutes actually do anything meaningful?
Yes, absolutely. Because the protocol operates on intensity and synchronization, not just duration.
Explain that.
5 minutes of maximal skin exposure at the exact atmospheric junction of sunrise.
Right.
Utilizing deep, forced rhythmic breathing and structural flexion provides a massive acute stressor and recovery signal to your biology.
Like a shock to the system.
Exactly. It is akin to a high-intensity interval training session, or HIIT, but for your circadian and subtle energy systems.
Wow. A HIIT workout for your masterclass.
Precisely. The intensity of that 5-minute synchronization vastly outweighs 45 minutes of casually walking outside in a heavy coat at 11 a.m. while staring at your phone.
So the excuses are completely removed. 5 focused minutes to reset the masterclass.
Anyone can find 5 minutes.
This has been a profound shift in how we view the morning.
It really has.
Let's look at the arc of what we've unpacked today. We started with the comfortable, defensive, modern advice. Get 15 to 20 minutes of sun, keep your clothes on, and avoid the heat.
The sanitized version. Yeah.
Right. But then we looked through Osman's lens, the lens of a master energy healer who actually lost his physical sight but retains this deep mechanical vision of the body, and we discovered a completely different paradigm.
Completely inverted.
We learned the geophysics of targeting the exact junction of sunrise to catch the planetary wave of transitional energy.
The terminator line.
We decoded the biomechanics of Surya Namaskar. We learned we should be treating the body not as a fragile object, but as an active solar panel.
Stripping off the layers.
Stripping the layers and using forward and backward flexions to physically pump and align our biology.
Generating piezoelectricity.
Exactly. We explored how breath acts as the manual override to synchronize our subtle energy with the environment.
Dropping us into that parasympathetic state.
We validated the science of unattenuated infrared light, supercharging our mitochondrial cytochrome C oxidase.
Speeding up the engine.
And we explored the tantalizing possibility that yoga sciences have been harnessing a vast, invisible spectrum of energy that modern instruments can't even see yet.
The epistemological gap.
Finally, we grounded it all in a ruthless 1 to 3 week timeline for measurable ROI in your energy, your career, and your relationships.
All requiring as little as 5 minutes a day.
It is a masterclass in utilizing the environment not as a backdrop, but as a primary technology for human optimization.
It really is.
I want to thank you for taking this deep dive journey with us today. My hope is that tomorrow morning you don't just, wake up.
Yeah, don't just hit snooze.
I hope you actually observe the dawn. I hope you look at that shifting light, not just as a signal that it's time to commute, but as a vast, complex spectrum of fuel that is literally pouring over the horizon, waiting to be absorbed.
And as you think about that fuel, consider the massive gap between ancient intuition and modern measurement that Osman brought to light today.
Right.
He claims science is only just discovering the infrared sliver, while these ancient protocols have utilized a vastly wider invisible spectrum for millennia.
Thousands of years.
It raises a fascinating question for you to mull over today as you move through your environment.
What's that?
What other powerful hidden forces of nature are passing right through your body at this exact moment, completely invisible, just waiting for us to finally build the tools to understand them?